$734 million deficit in CPS. So this is driven in part by funds diverted to housing and educating illegal immigrants.
Chicago Public Schools just announced it's laying off more than 1,400 school-based employees. This includes 432 teachers and 677 special ed classroom assistants. CPS says this is part of its annual workforce planning and budgeting process. Historically, the district says more than 80% of impacted employees have secured new positions within CPS prior to the start of the school year. It's not known if the current $734 million budget deficit will impact that rehiring process.
And division. Look, we are a welcoming city ordinance. Our local police department will not ever cooperate with ICE. Whatever their constitutional authority is.
And this isn't a one-off. Cities like Chicago, New York City, LA are imploding under the cost of sheltering and providing services to illegals all across the country. And when you try to fix it, like President Trump has done in this big, beautiful bill, they slam him for it. And the crazy part is the people who are going to benefit most from this, from diverting these funds from illegals, are the ones voting for Democrats. I got to say it. JT knows it's coming. You all are a bunch of big dummies. You big black dummies. I got to say that too, because most of the people voting for Democrats is largely supported by the black community. So while y'all sitting up here voting for these people, they're taking all of your resources.
Do you have compassion for those people who are seeing what's going on, hearing you speak, seeing what's happening in their neighborhoods, shouldn't have any concern, but do just because of the reality of what they're saying?
You know, Dana, the bottom line is if you want less collateral arrest, then let us in the jail. I mean, we want to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a county jail, but sanctuary cities release him into the community, which means we got to go to the community and find him. And when we find that bad person, many, many times, whether it's at a work site or in the community, they're with other people in the United States illegally. And we're going to let ICE enforce the law, uphold the oath they took. We're not going to be like the last administration who told ICE, instructed ICE, you can't arrest somebody for simply being here illegally. They got to be convicted of a serious offense. That's not what the law says. Yeah. We're enforcing the law. But look, immigration enforcement, I'm going to be clear, immigration enforcement has always been emotional. It's always been controversial. I've been doing this since 1984. I get it. Mm-hmm. And I understand why people want to come to the greatest nation on earth. I get it. But we can't send a message to the whole world that it's okay to enter this country legally. Don't worry about it. Even though it's a crime, come and enter illegally. And when you get an order of removal from a judge, you don't have to leave. You can become a fugitive, and we'll never look for you. Mm-hmm. We got to send a message to the whole world. There are consequences for breaking laws, and I think that's why one of the reasons we have the most secure border in history of this nation today. It's just not because we got boots on the ground on the border, not because we end in catch or release. A lot of it's consequences. You're watching what's happening. We're enforcing the immigration law, and I think that consequence has a lot to do with having the most secure border in history of this nation.
And Tom Homan was breaking it down. But they try to create lies and misinformation about this, and he says it nice and plainly. Let us get into the jails. What are your thoughts there, Michelle?
I mean, he's right. There would be less backlash. There'd be less to look at if they let them do their job the way they wanted to. But they don't. And Mayor Brandon, we've got that same issue here in Baltimore. Interesting, same name. But we've got that problem in multiple big cities. They don't want to let ICE do their job. They overwhelm our system. They love giving out handouts, and then handouts like our schools, they get there and the schools are overwhelmed. The educational systems in the United States get overwhelmed when you allow 10 million people to come here in less than 4 years. That's right. That's common sense. Oh, you're right. Black people don't, what they don't realize in those big cities is they are already becoming the majority. Right. So this is the majority minority. It's now brown, not black. It's going to be the Hispanic people or the people from overseas, whoever came. in the last 4 years, not those families that have been there for generations who thought they were going to get the help of the Democrat Party, and they're being left behind in droves. They're not going to see the fruit of what, they put in over and over and over, and they're just still going to be complaining about the same old, but that's what happens, right? And really, just even as Christians, bring it back to Christian conservative, when you rely on the tactics of the devil, when you rely on what the enemy is giving you, don't be surprised when he gives you nothing. Don't be surprised when it turns around and it fails you, because you should be looking for what God gives and doing what he's called you to do, not on what a government handout's going to do, or even any political party can do.
Right. Yeah. And as you mentioned, the Bible says anyone who does not provide for their relatives is worse than an unbeliever, in 1 Timothy. So folks, this is what the America First agenda is all about. America has a duty to care for its own citizens first, and certainly to follow the law. We're not saying we're closing our borders to everyone. If you legally follow the law, you can become a U.S. citizen, but you got to follow the law. That's it. As simple as that. And for these Democrats that are skirting it and are protecting these illegals, they are actually hurting U.S. citizens, the citizens and residents of their cities. So it's terrible. I mean, goodness, special needs students. They are betraying special needs, as we saw in the scamdemic, which they did. These teachers unions pressured these districts to keep these schools closed, and so people with special needs suffered. They still have not made up for the educational slide that occurred during the scamdemic when many of these public schools closed down. It's terrible. It's terrible. So laying off 677 special education assistants, that's a direct assault on children who need the most support, folks. This is terrible.
What's sad is they're going to be begging for that money to come from the government. Somebody's going to run on that politically. Somebody's going to fight, big seats, governor's races. That's what they're going to say, is that they're busy trying to help people and they need more money and they're going to fix that system. That system is broken. And allowing this many illegal immigrants here to those cities. And I said they were targeting those cities when they were flooding people and sending them to those big blue cities, because the big blue cities had policies that prevented ICE from doing its job. This is a natural result. And you're right, but they don't care about failing kids because they haven't cared for years. Those same children for the last 10 years haven't been able to read or do math. So we shouldn't be surprised when they continue to let them down. We just should be surprised that they're actually announcing how much, by how much financially they are letting people down. And then I'm praying for those citizens to push back and fight for those kids, fight for the funds to be put in the right place.
Absolutely. Folks, as you all come in, please hit that like button. It really helps to get this video out in front of a larger audience, and subscribe. We can't allow lawlessness and misplaced compassion to destroy our families, our cities, our schools. Stand up for truth, stand up for children, and most of all, pray that our leaders return to righteousness and accountability. And so if you agree with all of this, like, comment, as we can see you guys are commenting, and subscribe. All right.